was very clever, as I said, so clever that presently she was not satisfied with being at the very top of the cat profession. Cat people have more sense than human people, of course, she said to herself. But still there are some things one might learn from them. I must watch and see how they do things. So next morning, when the cook gave Mrs. Tabby White her breakfast, she noticed that cook poured the milk out of a jug into a saucer. That afternoon, Tabby felt thirsty. But instead of putting her head into the jug and drinking in the usual way, she tilted up the jug to pour the milk out as she had seen the cook do. But cats' paws, though they are so strong to catch rats and mice and birds, are too weak to hold big brown jugs. The nasty, deceitful jug fell off the dress and broke itself. "Just to spite me, I do believe," said Mrs. Tabby, and the milk was all spilled. "Now, how on earth could that jug have been broken?" said cook when she came in. "It must have been the cat," said the kitchen maid, and she was quite right, but nobody believed her. Then Mrs. Tabby White noticed the human people slept in big, soft-cushioned white beds instead of sleeping on the kitchen hearth rug or in the barn like cat people. So she said to her children one evening, "My dears, we are going to move into a new house." And the kittens were delighted, and they all went upstairs very quietly and crept into the very best human bed. But unfortunately that bed had been got ready for a human uncle to sleep in, and when he found the cats there he turned them out, not gently, and threw boots at them till they fled, pale with fright, to the ends of their pretty tails. And next morning he told the mistress of the house that horrid cats had been in his bed, and he vowed that he would never pass another night under a roof where such things were possible. Mrs. Tabby White was very glad, because no lady can wish for the visits of a person who throws boots at her. But the mistress of the house said sadly, "Oh, Tabby, you have lost us a fortune." And Tabby, for all her cleverness, didn't understand what the mistress meant, but went on purring proudly and wondering what clever things she could do next. And I don't know what it meant either, so don't you interrupt with silly questions. "I think we ought to wear shoes," was the next thing Mrs. Tabby White said. But all the human shoes were too big for her. However, there was a nice pair of salmon-coloured kid shoes, quite new, belonging to the human child's big doll. And Mrs. Tabby White put them on her eldest kitten's little brownie feet. "Now, Brindle," she said. He was named after the gentleman who told the story. "You are grander than any kitten ever was before." And at first Brindle felt pleased. Then he tried to feel pleased. Then he knew he wasn't pleased at all. Then the shoes began to hurt him horribly, so he mewed sadly, and Mrs. Tabby White boxed his ears softly, as mother cats do. You know how I mean. But when she was asleep, he took off the pink shoes and bit them into pieces. And Nurse slapped him for it. Poor Mrs. Tabby White was very miserable when she saw her son being slapped, for it is one thing to box your own son's ears, softly, as mother cats do. You know how I mean. And quite another to see another person do it, heavily, as is the way with nursemaids. But the last and greatest effort Mrs. Tabby White made to imitate human manners was one Saturday night. She saw the human child have its bath before the nursery fire, with hot water, pink soap, dry towels, and much fussing, and she said to herself, "Why should I waste hours every day in washing my children with my little white paws and my little pink tongue, when this human child can be made clean in 10 minutes with this big bath? If I had more time, I could learn to be cleverer, and I should end by being the most wonderful cat in all the world." So she sat and watched and waited. When the human child was in bed and asleep, Nurse went down to her supper, leaving the bath to be cleared away later, for it was a hot supper of baked onions and toasted cheese, and if you don't go to that supper directly it is ready, you may as well not go at all, for it won't be worth eating. At least, so I have heard the kitchen maid say. Mrs. Tabby White waited till she heard the last of Nurse's steps on the stairs below.